bill into law Thursday afternoon, and naturally it was a big component of his primetime speech last night. Now, some people are still trying to figure out if they are getting a check. If you are a single person making up to $75,000 a year, you will get $1,400. If you're a married couple making up to $150,000 each year, you will get a $2,800 check. And again, that's $150,000.
Because debit cards for those who received prior stimulus payments will be mailed by December 10th, and all debit cards will be mailed by January 14th. But still, the Virginia General Assembly, everybody, has passed a law this year approving a one-time tax rebate. Individual filers will receive a rebate of up to $250, while joint filers can receive up to $500. Those who filed their 2021 tax return by September 5th will have already received a rebate. Rebates to those who filed after that date are being issued in the order the taxpayers filed their returns. To receive the check, taxpayers must have filed the tax return by November 1st. The lawmakers also said that you must pass a law early this year to send payments, direct checks to Colorado in the form of a tax refund. Under the Colorado Cashback Program, individual filers will receive a $750 check, while joint filers will receive $1,500. Most residents will have already received the stimulus checks, but those who filed for an extension and submitted their state tax return by the October deadline can expect their payment by January. South Carolina lawmakers also approved a $1 billion tax rebate. The South Carolina Department of Revenue said it began issuing the rebates, which are capped at $800 a month. Payments are currently being sent out for those who filed their tax returns this year. However, those who filed their returns can expect their payments by March. And also, Joe Manchin left the door open to see one more day of becoming independent. As after Arizona colleague Kristen Sinema said she was leaving the Democratic Party to become an independent herself. So while speaking with reporters this afternoon, Manchin maintained that he is already the most independent person in the Senate and confirmed that he's considered alterations to his party's affiliation. He didn't foreclose even leaving the Democrats, but said he has no plans for such a move. Manchin said, "I don't know how you get more independent than me. I have no intention of doing anything right now." Manchin maintained that Americans are very upset and don't like bickering that goes on in politics, echoing long-standing criticisms. In the current Senate, Manchin and Sinema, who were seen as the most two centrist Democratic members, had a particularly influence on which legislation the nominees could advance. For instance, Manchin and Sinema did not give a heads up before making her announcement or Friday, but that he respects her decision and thinks she gave good reasons why. Manchin and Sinema will be up for re-election again in 2 years. He said that Monday he hasn't made anything decision about whether or not he's going to run, but one thing is for sure, stimulus is more important than this. We got more information about the fourth stimulus check, Social Security benefits, and SSI. There's a ton of news that you have to know, and continue watching this. Democratic lawmakers introduced a bill to increase the state child tax credit for working families in an effort to cut this poverty in half. A bill to create the New York State Working Families Tax Credit would increase the state child tax credit program to $1,500, up from $500, and also expand eligibility to children under age 4 and families making the lowest income levels. Families would be paid quarterly to help with utilities, food and clothing, and other essentials. Now, the Democrats also said that we want this policy to be moving forward.
Republicans, as I'm sure you know, have been gearing up toward creating a new China committee in the new year.
A what? What are they doing?
The China committee, the new China committee in the new year. What are your thoughts on that? Do you support these efforts, and how does this connect back to your most recent trip in Taiwan?
Oh, I don't know when you say, what do I think of these efforts? I don't know what they are. But I do know that we have had a China commission that is the law, that is bipartisan, that is bicameral in its review of human rights, economy, security, vis-a-vis China. 2 days ago, was that Tuesday? Tuesday, I testified before that committee and saluted the fact that for decades we have been working in a bipartisan way. That is a great venue for all of this.
There was another blow delivered to the Biden administration with the release of a poor inflation report that showed consumer price growth spiked in May. The Labor Department's Consumer Price Index rose a percent last month alone and 8.6% in the 12-month stretch ending in May. But Biden on Friday stressed that he is sympathetic to the impact of high inflation on families. During a press conference, Biden stated, "I understand Americans are anxious, and they're anxious for a good reason. Inflation is a real challenge to American families." What are your thoughts on this, everybody? Will President Biden finally do something for the American people and help people out with stimulus checks this year? So I believe that President Biden, everybody, can do more for the American people with stimulus checks. $700 stimulus payments have officially been approved by lawmakers. These checks will only be going out to a new targeted group of Americans, including those that are experiencing financial difficulties right now. More pressure is now on Congress to approve a fourth round of checks. Schumer is already proposing a new plan, and it was announced that the West Liberty City Council voted unanimously to move forward with a plan to distribute $700 stimulus checks to city residents that were previously excluded from the crisis relief. The plan would use $147,000 in local American Rescue Plan funding, which was allocated to states, cities, and counties to provide economic assistance for households negatively impacted by the crisis. A formal resolution is expected by June 21st, and the two city councilors argued for larger checks of $1,400, saying they plan to continue advocating for bigger checks up to the formal resolution. Now, it is really great to see that some lawmakers are finally taking action for the American people. West Liberty will become the second city of Iowa and one of the few cities in the country to set up a direct payment program using a portion of its American Rescue Plan funding. The state of Maine has also started sending out stimulus checks. Maine sent out its initial wave of $5,000 checks and $50 each on June 1st, and intends to send 200,000 checks per week in the future. According to the Maine governor, the state stimulus was signed into law as part of the state's budget surplus in late April. In a new announcement, the governor said the budgets of so many hardworking Maine people have been stretched to the brink of inflation. And while we cannot control inflation or global markets, we can make sure that Maine people have what they need to grapple with these rising costs. Through hard work, Democrats, Republicans, and Independents come together to do what is right for the Maine people. I hope this will provide at least a measure of relief for people during these tough times. Now guys, I believe it's a good idea for President Biden to do this and send out more stimulus checks, for sure. If you guys agree, tell me in the comments down below.
Too long, our nation's veterans have faced an absurd indignity. They enlisted to serve our country, went abroad in good health, and came back only to get sick from toxic exposure endured while in the line of duty. As many as 3.5 million veterans have been affected by burn pits since 9/11. Yet, approximately 80% of all disability claims connected to burn pits have been rejected by the VA. So many of our veterans have been fought by the VA after they fought for us as they tried to get health care benefits. Many of them had to hire lawyers just to prove their illnesses and then do a complicated legal dance to show what everyone knew, that toxic exposure from burn pits caused all kinds of cancers and other diseases. That was so wrong. The indignity, the callousness of forcing veterans who got sick as they were fighting for us because of exposure to these toxins to have to fight for years in the VA to get the benefits they deserved, well, that will soon be over.